Hello, from welcome to Invest. We're talking about investing, finance, and professional women. As a recording time of 9:06 a.m. on Eastern Time, Ethereum controlling $4,059, up about 1% so far. On the overall crypto market, you can see clearly there are some coins that are leaning more towards just a flat level, while some selective altcoin are surging nicely at the moment. And on the equity side, we can see also with respect to Dow Jones up about 0.43%, Nasdaq is rebounding significantly, 2.15%, while S&P 500 is also up about 0.44% on a pre-market perspective. And the rebounds obviously because of the depictions from the Jerome Powell conclusion yesterday from the FOMC meeting. And a high-level synopsis per my video that I explained yesterday, that with respect to the tapering, Jerome has tweaked the asset purchasing from $120 billion on a monthly basis to $30 billion, fighting heads-on with the inflationary pressure. And with respect to the interest rates, we are not hiking the interest rate within this quarter, which frankly is still, only half a month away from the end of this year. But there is going to be 3 specific interest hikes next year in 2022. In terms of timing, there's non-confirmatory. We don't know yet, right? It's really going to be contingent on how we triangulate with obviously all the up in the air factors right now, the Omicron, the job numbers, etc., etc. And then in the subsequent years, it's going to be another 2 specific interest hikes as well in 2023, and then subsequently in 2024, maybe and possibly, he said, 2 more interest hikes. Again, right, they have sprinkled, several allocated, interest hikes, but there is no confirmatory signals around the timing of it. But if I was Jerome, I'll probably sprinkle that across strategically in respective quarters that are more, prone for weakness in a market cycle perspective. In addition to that, some of the normalization that we're seeing today that might hinder the current momentum that we are surging across the entire market is with respect to job number claims that came out. So it seems like there is a tweak in comparisons to expectation. So with respect to it just released like fresh off the press, like I would say literally 10 minutes ago, that the weekly jobless claim for the period end of December 11th, total of 206,000 jobs claims above the estimates of 195,000, right? So it seems like there is a slight, like a very minimal, higher than expectation. And if you compare that historically, it's still relatively, low. If you compare that since November 15, 1969. So it's about like how specific and how stringent do you want it to be. I'll say this is a passable number that is not too detrimental, in comparisons to the blockbuster events that we've already passed over yesterday. That I think the sky is relatively blue ahead. I do think we're going to be gliding just fine with minimal turbulence ahead. So let's dive right straight into the technicals. Respect to recording time again on 9:10 a.m. on Eastern Time. Ethereum controlling $4,059, up about 1% so far. Right now, you could see clearly we're reviving, and we had some tests of resistance levels in the previous days because of the sell-off, right? Again, the 3,475 came true. We also have some, just levitation because of more uncertainty, but this one drop, the flash drop, was really mainly due to the wipeout of the leverage. A lot of people lost a lot of money because of just hitting their margin calls. They had to sell. And subsequently wiped out a lot of people's, short-term holdings, if you may. But the long-term holders sustained, right? And right now, we are having a more of a refresh balance in the ecosystem with respect to long-term holders versus short-term holders. And with this blockbuster events that got over, despite it's a relatively positive signal in the short term that in Q4 we're probably gonna have a healthy Christmas and we should technically see a rally ahead. There's still some unknown long term ramification, if you may, right? There's we don't know how is the future unfolding going forward, but there is a plan, right, that Jerome has laid out. We are leaning in a better direction by tapering, quite significantly as well. But the sizable taper, it does raise a little bit of a red flag to me. Is this too aggressive? Like, I know the job numbers like came out, or like the needle that Jerome has been looking at, on the statistical level, monthly, has been trending nicely, right? So with that progression, that's why the committee decided to taper in such a manner, right? But I just worry if the COVID, and with respect to just as of you see today, the weakness with respect to the jobless claims, we will see, right? That's my sentiments. Ultimately, I have to be thinking through. Sometimes media affectation can influence my point of view, despite it came out as a number quantitatively. But I just have to think like, is this number adjusted? What other revisions that we have to make within our thesis? Yeah, so I'm always like thinking in my head. So, anyways, I don't want to convolute myself, nor try to convolute you either. But right now, in the technical is where I always stay within my fundamentals. That I think we're trending in the good direction right now. We are at the depleted level still. We're curving up slowly, right? And eventually, as we have more bullishness, as we, do rates within the remaining weeks of this month, we should technically surge up and then form a golden cross. And then as we form that, we are still within the cup and handle formation, that we should test all-time high all over again, right? And I think going back to all-time high by Q1, or even possibly by end of this year, if we have some really positive news, is very possible, right? Who knows? With respect to Bitcoin, we are sustaining nicely above the 47,800, right? And right now, I think the bottom was pretty much it at the, at one point at the 42, which is absurd. And right now, I think we're sustaining nicely above 47 and bouncing from the 50. I think the next level that we're going to reach to would be 52 or 53 from here. So I think, for you to incur risk, even after the rebound, is still a good level to incur. It's just logical. Dogecoin right now is reversing back down. You can see clearly because of the lack of media affectation. Like, I hope that some investors actually took a good profit from there because of the fact that it was a relatively short-lived type of affectation, very hype-driven. Obviously the Elon Musk tweet around the proposition of Dogecoin being adopted as a transaction format. So not sure how long term this is, but I think for me, I'll just probably stay away because of the high uncertainty with respect to this assets as a whole. And Cardano right now, as a 38 out of 70, I think is still a good buy if you believe in this long term. I think technically, it's a good setup between the 119 and the 134. So right now we're in the neutral level. Solana is surging right now. We are about to form a golden cross. So as we form that golden cross, we will surge up all the way to the 200, which is the next level because of the flat number. And then if we have even more bullishness, we'll go up to ideally somewhere around 230, which is basically the platform. And if we can even get there further, we're gonna go up by 260. It seems like the leap up is like going by like 30s in intervals. Interesting. We are at a relatively neutral level, so it's not terrible if you believe it right now. But again, right, the dip was basically within the past couple of days when we were panicking. Again, 155, that was the dip, right? That's what technical was saying to us. XRP is up about 4% right now. Right now, 88 to 78. I think right now is still a relatively okay level. We just formed a golden cross, so I think we will see more bullishness happening. I think we are at a downward wedge. So XRP, I would say, is relatively bullish. Polkadot is reversing right now, 36 out of 70, crossing upward. Not terrible. I think, if you believe in this asset, I think this is a relatively good setup as well. This is a downward wedge as well. ALGORAND's up about close to 9%, 41 out of 70, curving up right now, so it seems like it's reversing. We were technically at rock bottom before, right, at 130. So, yeah, 130 was the dip, right? Hopefully you guys got in, but for me, I'll probably stay away because I don't really know much about ALGORAND. Shiba Inu, I think, again, right, 2,900 to 900 still the dip. MacTac is up about 1.35%, anywhere from 175 to 143, and whoever bought at 175, congratulations to you. AVAX up about 6.66% right now. It's reversing up because of its micro-driven affectation. Right now, it bounced off at the 79, the 78. That was the level that you should have incurred risk at. And right now reversing, but it seems like this is a relatively interesting activity, mainly driven by either whales or some specific microly driven affectation. It seems like we're reversing up right now, but it seems a little bit too prompt. So there's something fishy going on. So I'll probably look into this. For me, I'll probably stay away because we're at the neutral level right now. The dip was technically anywhere from 81 to 60, like I keep saying, right? And let me just take a look at the news real quick before I hop on to the recap. Decrypt 18 minutes ago, talk about Ethereum privacy provider Aztec raised 17 million added bridges for developer. So it seems like there's some VC money being thrown into beefing up the Ethereum privacy concerns that we've been experiencing, right? $10 billion have been lost in just one last year. It's just insane to me. And then the next one's on Decrypt. 35 minutes ago, talk about Nansen raises 75 million to expand DeFi and NFT investors tools on Ethereum, Solana, and more. Seems like more VC money being thrown into anything related to DeFi and NFT commercialization. And then the last one that I see really is the last two ones that I see really interesting is 4 hours ago, talk about perspective is thinking about as Bitcoin Ethereum rise after the Fed ramp up tapering. Here's what these 5 analysts are saying. So I see there are a couple of analysts on Twitter, like Justin Bennett. Don't know who he is. I don't really follow other people on other channels. Michael Van Pop. I heard his name before, but I don't know him. Altcoin Sherpa. And some other guy. Yeah, I think that's, yeah, like all these analysts, they like, oh, they saw this coming, they see this reversal, but I don't know how substantive they are in terms of their verbiage. Again, I don't really follow them, so feel free to let me know, like, what do you think about these people? Again, I don't really read other analyst reports or other analyst perspective because it kind of takes away from my point of view. I don't want to be influenced by anybody, but within myself, I just kind of formalize my opinion based on logics and quants. So interesting. And then the last one that I see on Fortune magazines with respect to tech futures climbs nearly 100 points as investors cheers more hawkish Feds. This is something that we talked about yesterday, so no need to really go through this again. And that's pretty much it overall. We already talked about with respect to the FOMC meeting recap yesterday, so let's just go into the risk management levels. So these are levels that we are identified, and let me expand this. And it seems like we are going, got over the hump that we were, which surprisingly was Wednesday yesterday, which was the hump technically. So I think it's going to be a relatively clear sky ahead. I am bullish on this. I think the setup across multiple assets in crypto industry, it's healthy, right? I think the depletions allow for recirculations was important. So I think incurring some risk in certain opportunities that we have laid out here, can be logical. But obviously, the better times when everybody was freaking out days ago was a much more attractive level. But it's still a good level, right? We are at the fair / attractive, definitely not steal anymore. So we're not like stealing anymore, I guess. But hopefully this is helpful. And congrats to the ones that actually made some money, in the last couple of days. I know it was definitely a stomach wrenching experience, but with logics and with right quantitative methodology, it always works out, right? Technicals never lie, right? So appreciate you. Hope you guys have a great rest of the Thursday and stay tuned to come up. Take care.